Otherwise, I get out. Who's gonna jump behind me? No. I don't know where I'm supposed to be though. Huh? 45. Oh.
¿Hablas español?
Sí.
Bueno, nada más dinos qué estás haciendo aquí y por qué vienes. Pero
Okay.
ahorita que...
Hola, buenas tardes.
completo.
Mi nombre es Maribel García.
Maribel, platícanos de por qué decidiste venir el día de hoy.
Estamos reunidos en esta causa, en esta situación que está pasando más y más, que es violencia de las autoridades hacia nuestros hermanos, nuestra raza mexicana, también de la raza, de diferentes razas morenas. Y no hay justicia, entonces nos estamos reuniendo en solidaridad con nuestros hermanos. Y en este día venimos en forma de una ofrenda que es nuestra raíces, que es danza azteca mexicana. Y es una ofrenda de nuestro esfuerzo, de nuestro sudor, como una forma de rezo hacia la comunidad.
Start here, we'll walk a little bit. Just a little bit, it's only a minute. All right.
other in the event of tear gas. You must carry 2. It is a
We moved
preventative
from
measure.
Discovery Green closer towards City Hall, but we have not started moving yet in that direction. You can see that truck is loading up with Floyd family members and organizers. That's the truck that will be going down Walker Street towards City Hall, leading this march. You see people have showed up here with horses. They'll be riding horses ahead of the march. And behind those horses, you'll probably get a better shot from Air 11. You literally can see thousands of people with signs, wearing shirts with George Floyd's face and name on it. All of this is for George Floyd, to honor his memory. And the big message we've heard early on from speakers at Discovery Green is they want to keep this peaceful. They want to honor George Floyd's memory the right way. And they know the country, and not just the country, Mia, we have to be honest, the world is watching how Houston protests today. You can see families from all across our area, all races, all genders, here to support George Floyd's family. They have about a 2.5 mile march ahead of them, and we will be walking with them the entire way. Again, Mia, several blocks worth of people waiting to begin this march. This is really just the beginning, and you can see just how massive it is right here where we are. Mia, back to you.
Can you hold this?
But I want you to be safe no matter what you do. Hey guys, we need 2 waters. We need 1 water. Right here by
No, sí está.
All right, look, right here. safe. Hey, Jasmine. To get a mask. Go ahead, guys. One for your face. Thank you so much.
What she said, baby?
Well, Mia, we are marching right alongside these protesters. We are now at Travis and Walker. I want to show you that sign, several signs like this. We won't be pacified with short-term fixes. They want police, they want law enforcement to change the system. That is just one of several signs we see out here. A lot of hurt, a lot of anger, but Mia, unlike what we've seen in other parts of the country, Houston is not showing any of that. No violence. It's all been peaceful, loud chants.
Tell them what time it is. Tell them what
Loud
time.
chants in support of George Floyd's family. The focus here from the very beginning, from the moment this march started, was to keep it peaceful and to send a loud message from the city of Houston, something we haven't seen in other major cities. They don't want to confuse things. They know that there's a lot of hurt and anger and pain in the African American community and in the country as a whole, and they want to make sure they express things the right way. George Floyd's family is just a block ahead of us. They will be speaking at City Hall once we get there. And yeah, the interesting thing about this is there's several blocks worth of people here. We're towards the front of this march. It's going to be, we'll be at City Hall, in about 5-10 minutes. It's going to take at least 20 to 30 minutes to get the entire crowd towards City Hall, Mia. So a big turnout, I think a larger turnout than even folks expected. Yesterday, Trae the Truth told our Jason Miles they wanted this to look like an Astros parade. Well, I can tell you it certainly has that feel, except all these people aren't celebrating a championship. They are demanding justice for George. Mia?
Yeah. I know it was going to happen.
protecting the life of George Floyd and his family, making sure that that no one hijacks their event, that no one comes to our city and tries to hijack the spirit and soul of our city. We are a united city, and that has been on display for a week now. So, it really starts with our mayor, Sylvester Turner, our council members, just everyone here, north, south, east, west, 3rd Ward, 5th Ward, all wards. We all come together, and that's why I love this city. The diversity and the inclusivity is second to none. And I think that's what you're seeing today.
What's the energy like out here?
I feel good because people know that. Look, you all know me. I've been in fights with police unions before for holding people accountable. Sometimes the community doesn't think that I did the right thing, but they know that we may not agree 100% of the time. But I think they know that our organizational heart, our organizational psyche is in the right place. Understanding that we still have individuals that we have to deal with that, that sometimes they're going to do the wrong thing. But I hope that this community trusts us to hold them accountable. It's interesting because they keep talking about the videos we haven't released. I just met with another family today. And after they saw the video, once again, the family of the individual that we shot that was armed with a pistol, they've asked us not to release it. And I think that moving forward, one of the things that I'd like to see is a national conversation for a national standard on how we handle police involved shooting videos. Because the first stakeholder in it is the family of the deceased or injured person. The second stakeholder is the police department in terms of the officer, because they need to have a certain process. And the third stakeholder is the community. And there's a lot of competing interests, so that's a conversation. I hope that once and for all, we can have one size fits all. It should be a national standard, and I'm looking forward to that conversation.
Can you talk about the emotions that you have had this past week? I mean, you've been at almost every protest, every rally.
It's... for the people that don't understand the pain of especially the African-American community, it's kind of like several years ago I was somebody in government here that a constitutional officer in Texas called Black Lives Matter movement terrorist or whatever he said, and they asked me during a press conference, "Hey, have you heard about this?" I said, "No." What this person said? And he said, "Well, it was not good." And what I told him was this: shame on him, because has even bothered to meet with the activists. And I can tell you that if any person in office doesn't understand the pain of our community, I challenge them to come out here and look in the eyes of these men and women and children that are shedding tears. And I'm not too proud to say I've shed tears with them. It's visceral, the pain and the anger as well. So, all right, guys, I gotta get to work. Thank you.
Who do I reach out to if I want to add value to the conversation? Do you have a contact info or anything?
Sure, yeah.
Okay.
My email is JBLU.
Okay. You said it's
J, B as in boy.
JB.
LU. D. AU.
Hey, Keena, how long is this cut in? We have arrived at City Hall, just FYI.
We're not going through there. Okay, okay.
George Floyd! George Floyd! George Floyd! George Floyd!
Let me get you out here.
Yeah, we're fine.
Hey, cuz, stop. Walk on around us, y'all. George Floyd.
Well, Mia, we've arrived here at City Hall. We're just south of it here at Smith and Walker, and you can see the crowd is still making its way. It's such a massive crowd. You see all types of people out here carrying all sorts of signs in support of George Floyd's family. This march took us about 10 minutes to get from Discovery Green up to City Hall. And Chris is trying to give you, our photographer Chris is trying to give you a look at just the depth of this crowd. Chris, if you try to bring up your camera a little bit so you can see exactly how far this goes. We don't have an exact number yet, Mia, to tell you in terms of attendance, but it has to be in the thousands. We have several blocks full of people that are still making their way. To be honest, quite honest with you, I'm not sure if all these people are going to fit in front of City Hall. But their message is simple. They want justice for George. They were outraged like we all were with what we saw in that video, and they want something done now. Mia, can you hear me?
No peace. No peace.
Sorry, Mia.
Everybody out here was agreed to become a part of a union. Imagine what we can do with that. I mean, it's about 500,000 people out here, right? Let's not even exaggerate. Let's say 100,000 people out here, right?
I need water. Water?
Good, thank you though, thank you.
right here.
What are we gonna do, people? What are we gonna do? No peace. No peace. No peace.
It's been a long corner.
It was like half of the field.
I got the best view in town. Once we get ready to go live, do you want to go stand down in there, or you want to do it from right here?
Look around, look to your left, look to your right, and look behind you, and look in front of you. Don't let anybody tell you what Houston, Texas is. This is Houston, Texas. This is what representing Houston looks like. This is what representing Houston feels like.
City Hall is part of a peace march for George Floyd. Thousands who gathered at 3 o'clock at Discovery Green have made their way to City Hall. They have honored the family's wish to peacefully march in the memory of George Floyd. And we will soon hear from the organizers of today's march. We hear that they are preparing to take the podium anytime now. We'll also hear from members of the Floyd family and Houston city leaders. Let's go to the podium right now because those speeches are starting.
You're goddamn right, it's George Floyd. On behalf of my brother Trae the Truth, and y'all please make some noise for Trae the Truth. If we catch a case today, this is my co-defendant right here, just so you know. We really want to thank everybody for coming out tonight. Y'all have no idea what this means to us. Houston is united. Houston is unified. Houston stands together in solidarity against racism, against police brutality, against racial injustice. We stand for everything that means something under God's word. We're all children of God, and that's why we stand here today to do honor to a fellow brother of ours, George Floyd, who was tortured and murdered in the streets of Minneapolis, Minnesota. We will never forget his name. We will never forget his memory. And due to that, we will make sure that we carry this fight on as long as we need to and as far as we have to. A little sweat ain't shit to me today. Walking a couple of blocks ain't nothing to me today. You might be wet, you might be sweaty, your legs might hurt, but you'll never have to deal with the pain that George Floyd had to deal with. I want to thank our religious leaders for praying for us today and praying with us today. I want to thank James Prince from Rap A Lot Records for standing with us today. I want to thank the council, Lee Merritt, for being here with us today. My brother, my son, my sister Tamika Mallory. Make no mistakes about it, we are here for justice today. We're here for accountability today. We appreciate the Houston Police Department for standing with us today, but make no mistakes about it, we will hold our police department accountable if they commit acts against the people of this city. I plead with my police chief, Art Acevedo, who is still with me this week and marched with me this week, to make sure to ensure transparency for this police department. I want to thank our elected officials for being here today. Councilwoman Shabazz, Congresswoman Sheila Jackson Lee, and our esteemed Mayor, Sylvester Turner. But I plead with them today to create legislation to help us fight this serious disease in country known as racism. I plead for them for policy reform. I plead for them for a community review board with subpoena power so that when the police cannot police themselves, that we the people have a voice, because we are the dogs in this fight. When the police departments of America will not police themselves, we need independent community review boards with subpoena power to hold them accountable, to have them arrested and have charges brought against them. And that takes legislation, so I plead with our mayor, I plead with our congresspeople, and I plead with our city council. Please join us in this fight. Please write the legislation. Please pass the bills that are necessary to protect the people of Houston, the people of the state of Texas, and the black people of America and people of color from being terrorized by murderers hiding behind a badge on our streets. If you believe me, say his name. If you with me, say his name. If you want justice, say his name. If you came here to fight for injustice and against racism, say his name. You're goddamn right, his name is George Floyd. Now, I know my brother is a brother of few words, but every word he said is powerful and has the weight of Houston, Texas behind him. So please welcome my brother to the stage, Trae the Truth.
Houston, Texas, say his name. Say his name. I can't. Check this out, man. I want to tell each and every one of y'all personally from the bottom of my heart, I thank y'all. When we did what we did and came with the idea to do this Sunday, we had no idea if it was going to be 10 people or if it was going to be 10,000. At the end of the day, we knew one thing for sure. It was no way we letting bro go get buried in the ground without us putting up a fight. So if you know you came to fight today, and you know you came to stand, and you know the time for fear is over, I need you to make some noise right now. So like Bud said, he know I hate talking. I'm one of the ones just about action, man. I want to say personally, the reason this is so important to me, first and foremost, I want to thank every city, every state that stood up for George Floyd that didn't even know George Floyd. From the city of Houston, Texas, We salute y'all 1,000%. Everything y'all doing, we see y'all. And just as well as y'all standing for George Floyd, anything that happened in y'all community, we gonna stand the same damn way, man. So check this out. The reason I said this was important today, because a lot of us took it in our own hands. A lot of us felt our own pain, our own hurt, our own damn near hate for what was happening to us. But nobody took the time to allow the family to speak or to hear their thoughts, or even hear them tell the world how they feel about what they seeing going on. So we decided to do this march for them. If you got love for George Floyd right now and his family, I need you to put one fist in the air right now. Come, yeah, pull them through. So check this out, man. I got a couple of important speakers, and we're going to end it with the family, because I feel like their words are more powerful than anything that's going on right now, because the hurt they feel is something we can't imagine. We can't imagine looking at this video, and this is one of our relatives, and the only thing we can do is hear them cry, and we feel helpless because we can't help them. So we going to make this day right here, we're going to make this day count. We know the world watching right now. We know the nation watching, not just U.S. I've seen people protesting in London, France, everywhere there is, man. I've seen people protesting in London, France, everywhere there is, man. Right now, George sparked a change in the world that we need right now. But while we continue, I want to bring one of the homies up. Tamika, I want you to come get some words. If you don't know who Tamika Mallory is, I'm going to let her tell you a few things about herself. This is just the beginning, and one other thing. I got to say thanks to the city of Houston, the mayor, everybody who took part for even allowing this to happen. I said we was going to do this, they didn't ask no questions. The only thing they said was, what we doing and how can we assist? So I want to take the moment for us to give them a round of applause now, because it's clear you either with us or you against us, and they letting it be known they staying with us right now.
Please welcome to the podium right now our sister in the struggle, all the way from New York, Tamika Mallory.
Folks, we just want to let you know, of course, emotions are running high right now. People very passionate about what they're saying. So you might hear some colorful language, some profanity. We apologize. And right now, let's return to the speeches.
Your baby's over there. I traveled here all the way from New York City today. And so y'all don't get to be quiet. When I say Houston, what's up, I need y'all to let me know that you're out here right now on behalf of George Floyd. Houston, what's good? Now, when I say no justice, I want you to say no peace. No justice! No justice! No justice! No justice! No justice! And if there ain't gonna be no justice, there ain't gonna be no peace. They have to arrest the cops. They keep asking me, how do we calm the streets down? And I keep telling them, arrest every damn cop that had something to do with George Floyd's death. Arrest the cops. Arrest the cops. Arrest the cops. Arrest the cops.
Arrest the cops. Arrest the cops.
Brothers and sisters, we are at a critical moment in our history. We are at a critical moment in our history. We are about to change America forever. Don't let anybody tell you that we're not making a difference. They see us and they cannot control what has been unleashed on our streets. You cannot back down. Now more than ever, we must be vigilant and we must continue to press forward. People all over the world have taken up this fight. You see, George Floyd is a martyr. George Floyd, you didn't hear me, because I didn't hear any noise. George Floyd is a martyr. His death has changed the hearts of women, men, and children all over the world. Stephanie Mills has a song that says, it's something in the way you make me feel. And there was something about listening to our brother call for for his mother and his family that has changed our hearts forever. We're ready to fight, and we're not going back. You see, George Floyd was the thing that, the straw that broke the camel's back.
That's right.
But the reality, brothers and sisters, is that the camel's back was already broken. It was already bloody, it was bruised, and it was weak. It was weak because the education system has failed us. It was weak because capitalism is literally choking us. At the end of the day, the whole damn system is guilty as hell. And we know that. But the fact that Donald Trump was able to become president of the United States means the system is all fucked up. And guess what? We can't go back. We must fight for our lives. We're dying anyway. So we might as well take to these streets like they have never seen us take to the streets before and shut this shit down. We're marching. And we're marching for Sandra Bland. We're marching for Mike Brown. We're marching for Trayvon Martin. We're marching for Tamir Rice. We're marching for Philando Castile. We're marching for Deborah Danner. We're marching for Ramarley Graham. We're marching for Sean Bell. The list is too long. So don't go in your house. When they tell you that they're going to put more police on the street, bring more people to the streets. We outnumber them. They cannot kill us all. It is unfortunate that some of us will have to lose our lives. There's been no revolution. There's been no change in America. In fact, the way in which they brought us here to build this country, many of our people died. But today we are declaring that no more are we asking. No more are we begging. We don't want to talk about it. We don't want to meet about it. We don't want to cry about it. We don't want our mothers crying. We don't want our sons dying. We are demanding that this country treat black people the way that you treat everyone else. Our humanity must be recognized. This is a demand. It's not a question. No more will I cry when my son leaves the house. We're going to fight back. We're going to fight back. Are you with me, brothers and sisters? Are we going to fight back? Now, they want to be able to say that we out here looting and there's violence and that we are the worst people in the world. Actually, brothers and sisters, we have to be careful because everybody that's marching with us is not with us. They want to catch you on camera throwing a brick, turning over a car, burning down a building so that they can justify murdering us. But we don't have to throw one brick. What we have to do is organize. Organize our people, register to vote, and turn out like we have never turned out before. Forward, brothers and sisters, forward. We can accomplish what you will. Up, you mighty race. We ain't going back. We're going forward. God bless you. Go in peace.
All right, we have been listening to Tamika Mallory there, and we just want to apologize. You know, this is live TV. We are carrying this live, and people are emotional, and they are upset. And sometimes when they are, they use certain language. So we have to understand that we are live in this moment as we listen in.
He stopped in Indianapolis to speak with the people in Indianapolis, and I met him on the streets in Minneapolis, Minnesota, and he's made his way all the way to Houston to let y'all know that he stands in solidarity. Give it up for my brother, my son.
Black Lives Matter. Black Lives Matter. Black Lives Matter. Black Lives Matter. They ask, why is that a question that even needs to be made? I say, wait, first, we've had to ask, why would anyone believe that we would need to be slaves? Explain to me, please, why is the black man dying at the rate of an endangered species? I say it's because we've normalized abnormality. You see, we've allowed this land of the free to lock up and cage our morality. So now they can casually see the casualty of a black man the same way they see a video game where the ghost monster kills Pac-Man. Or where flies swatted by a backhand. Eric Garner got choked on camera. What happened to justice for that man? And we see what they did to George Floyd on that camp. And we ain't even gonna talk about how they did Sandra Bland. But Black Lives Matter is a movement of affirmation. You see, we tell the nation that a black life cannot be taken without somebody being held accountable. You see, we're no longer allowing you to tell a mother that the life that came out of you is insignificant than the killer cops that killed their kid that we are proud of you. That's unacceptable. You see, it's unconceptual to get shot down in your vestibule by the ones who are supposed to be protecting you. But then I reckon you would say, but what about black-on-black crime? You see, blacks kill more blacks than anybody, and it's best to support that fact, fine. But that's when you're trying to rationalize someone who's been traumatized. See, before fall, we had to endure more acts of homicide than a soldier going to war. So I'm going to have to apologize on our behalf because our brain's been sodomized. You see, we've been taught to idolize money. Now we itemize. Trying to rise, now our lives are worth less than some dollar files from mama files inside our eyes because we've been lied to. So y'all tell Ray Lewis that black-on-black crime is derivative. And if we don't give these kids no hope or no food, they're going to find a way to get it then. See, living in the ghetto, we get it, man. We either going to rap, we going to play ball, or we going to die, or we going to go to prison then. Hell, they building a prison right now. And who the fuck you think going to live in there? I don't mean no disrespect. Oh, no one's taking offense. But if you don't understand white supremacy, nothing I'm saying is going to make sense. Black Lives Matter is self-explanatory. We're telling the world that black lives have value, and we're asking it's mandatory. That's why I stand here the way Dr. King took a stand before me. With more than a dream, no, he had a plan for glory and equality. You see, he wanted blacks and whites to live together in conditions of equal quality. And him inside of me is seeking the same thing. That's why I'm up here speaking. I'm hoping I'm reaching someone who can eventually change things, because we hold the keys to transforming this nation and racism in all its degrees. So please, take heed, because the fact of the matter is they can't say all lives until Black Lives Matter. God bless y'all.
Houston, Texas, I need y'all to make some real noise for my brother, my son. Those words were poignant. I want to bring to the stage one of Houston's elders, one of our original freedom fighters. This brother is 93 years old. And he's out here in the streets with us just like he was back then. Ladies and gentlemen, our Pastor Emeritus, representing Wheeler Avenue Baptist Church. Please give a very, very loud round of applause.
Check 1, 2.
For Reverend Calvin Lawson.
My brothers and sisters, you have no idea what a joy it is to see this. Dr. Martin Luther King was born 6 months after I was. And I have seen the civil rights movement from Rosa Parks until today. And now I see all of you out in these streets marching because of an evil thing that was done to George Floyd. And I see you determined not simply to have 3 officers prosecuted, but to change the life of these United States. And the people who have marched with you are people no longer simply in Minneapolis, no longer in Houston, but all over the world. People have marched in London, in Australia, in Paris, every place you can imagine. People have been marching for this one man, George Floyd. I wonder if that cop who stood on his neck had any idea that it would create this kind of trauma. If he had any idea that he would have all the people in the world angry because of what he did. But even more than that, angry because of what the white system has done. Right now, I'm not only glad to see you, but I'm glad to see many of our moral and religious leaders here. Bishop Dixon is here. Joel Osteen is here.
Not today, not today. You can feel how you want to feel, but keep it to yourself right now. Let's show some respect to our speaker. You don't have to agree, but show him some respect while he's talking, y'all. Thank you.
I listened to these young people talk ahead of me, and I listened how impassioned they were. I listened how angry they were, and I listened to how loud they talked, saying, "We will not come this way again." This must not be a parade that simply ends and we all go home. We have to make sure that something is done on Wednesday and on Thursday and next week and the week following that. We have to make sure that the people who no longer, who were not even in the parades in the 1950s and the 1960s do make some difference now. We have to make sure that they knew that no longer will black people be suppressed and held down, because it is not justly, it is not just black people who are angry. It is the world that is angry, because it doesn't take a lot to make an evil act, but it takes a lot of us to bring down the system that caused that evil act. So let me say what President Obama had said: you have been heard. This is no longer just a black parade. This is a parade of all kinds of races and cultures, and you have been heard. Maybe nobody had heard you before, but with the death of this one simple Houston man, you have been heard, and the noise will not go down. And not only have you been heard, there are people who want to make some changes. This parade was not started by an activist or by a civil rights leader. This march was started by a mayor. You know what that means?
It's all right.
They need to make noise. They need to make noise.
He said, let them make noise. No, he said they need. No, he said they need to make noise.
They
brother.
need to make noise. You have been quiet for a long time.
No justice! No justice! No justice! No justice! Say his name! Say his name! Say his name! Say his name!
The next thing you have to do is not march, but register and vote. We have to get out of office those people who feel like they have to energize and make possible the evil actions of those who would suppress black folks. You have a president right now who needs to be out of office. So right now, George Floyd has given to us a lot of pain and a lot of anguish because we lost one whom we loved. But I hope that George Floyd has also energized us and has made us feel that we have to change this bad system. So I'm up here just as many others are, and just as the Floyd family will be up here. I'm up here simply to say to you, keep mobilized. Don't let this be a one-day parade. Keep mobilized and get ready to vote. Vote. Vote.
Vote. Vote. Vote. Vote. Vote. Vote. Vote. Everybody, please give it up.
Listening to the crowds there chanting after hearing from Pastor Emeritus of Wheeler Avenue Baptist Church, Reverend Lawson, civil rights activist who marched with Dr. King and who today at 91 years old addressed the thousands gathered around Houston City Hall in honor of George Floyd. He said, "I see you are determined to not just arrest 3 other officers, but to change the life of these United States." Such words of wisdom from a man who has marched to stop social injustice at a different time. But we fast forward decades later as thousands convene in downtown Houston peacefully this afternoon to seek justice, to stop injustice against George Floyd. Our Marcelina Benito has been following along with marchers. We want to check in with him now in downtown Houston. Marcelina.
We didn't just gather here to express our frustration. We've gathered here to yield.
Amy, we are still in the position right on Smith and Walker where we arrived here at City Hall, and you can see the crowd still coming. Blocks down Walker, you can still see large crowds, lots of signs. We've been here for now 15, 20 minutes, coming up on half an hour here at City Hall since we arrived, in the crowds.
He says, how does a cop kneel on his neck for 8 minutes and 36 seconds straight while he screams for his life, while onlookers scream for his life, and most importantly, while they filmed him? The camera was not a surprise to him. He was indifferent to the camera. He didn't care about the camera. He said, how is it possible that that man, and when we spoke, he was unarrested, and the man who helped him, who aided and abetted this murder, was unarrested? He said, how is that possible? Understand this. I come here as one of the counsels for the family, but I am not an attorney hoping to reform a broken criminal justice system. I don't believe we need any more attorneys hoping to more thoughtful attorneys hoping to reform a broken criminal justice system. It is not broken. It is operating exactly how it was designed to operate. When Derek Chauvin looked into that camera the way I'm looking into these cameras, he knew that despite him being recorded, he would likely get away with it. Because the system doesn't need any more attorneys hoping to fix a broken system. They need radical lawyers, radical artists, radical people hoping to burn it down and build a new one. What does that look like? It looks like people power, economic power, political power. It's time that we begin to yield our power. Because even in the city of Houston, you do not go without your own stain. Because right here, the district attorney, Kimberly Ogg, has failed to indict the officer who murdered Pamela Turner on video. So we come here to cash a check not only for our brother Floyd, but for our sister Pamela Turner. Say her name. Floyd. But for our sister Pamela Turner. Say her name. Say her name.
What does that look like? It has to be more than just words, Lee. We've heard you talking, Lee. There's brothers more articulate than you, Lee. So what does that look like? That looks like when the people come together, and use their power to vote, that's a start, but it's not the whole thing. Let me hear you say vote. Let me hear you say vote. When the people come together and use their economic power and defund a corrupt and broken police system, that's what it looks like. We use our economic power, we take our businesses to defund a crooked and broken police system until they begin to reform themselves. The law enforcement officers you see standing with us, they should be here in protest because they are a part of a broken system. Talib Kweli said it like this. Talib Kweli said it's in their job description to terminate the threat, so one shot to the body is what you can expect. The president has said, no matter if we follow the law, how do I give my son pride and then make him swallow it all? My sister Sheila Jackson Lee, she said, don't get up there and talk about the arrest of one officer. Don't get up there and talk about the arrest of 3 officers. Get up there and tell them that we need to take this fight to Washington, D.C. We need to demand a comprehensive reform package for policing in America. It can never be the same again. That means we need to end qualified immunity. We need to do that on both sides of the aisle. That means we need to end qualified immunity. That means we need to end, or we need to change, we need to take hold of the use of force protocol. And listen, I want to talk to you all about the legal part of it, because look, we said part of it was political power. That means we got to pay attention and understand it. When he looked at that camera, he thought, protected by qualified immunity, and I likely am following the use of force protocol. And so we need to go to D.C. and tell them we need a new set of laws that respect black lives. We need a new set of laws that respects black lives. Until we do that, we're going to exercise our people power. Say it after me, people power. Political power. Economic power. Say his name. Say his name. Say his name. We are calling for the George Floyd police reform bill, and we will not stop protesting, we will not stop fighting until it happens. Say his name. Lee. Give it up for Family Counsel Lee Merritt.
I like the way that sounds, George Floyd police reform bill. I love the way that sounds.
Next up, we're going to bring out here the esteemed mayor of Houston, Texas, who was so kind to allow us to stand here in City Hall and protest injustice and let his police force come out here and protect this route and keep the instigators out. Everybody please welcome Mayor Sylvester Turner.
Thank you. Look, let me start off. Let me thank Bumby and Trae the Truth for providing leadership to this effort. Give it up to Bumby and Trae the Truth. I want to thank all of these elected officials from Congress, the state level, city council members, county commissioners who are here, school board members, constables, all on all levels. I want to thank our community activists, our community leaders, our faith-based leaders for being out here. I want to thank all of you for coming out. You have marched, demonstrated, stood up, made your voices heard, and let me tell you, people that are in elected office in position of power, we are listening, and it's not important just to listen. It is important for us to do. And so I want you to know that your marching, your demonstrating, your protesting has not gone on in vain, certainly not here in the city of Houston. And even as the mayor of the city of Houston, let me tell you, in this city, we can always do things better. We should always, on a constant, daily basis, review our own practices, procedures, and actions. We need to make sure that we engage in best practices. We always need to advance our training to make sure that we are sensitive to everything that's happening out here on our streets. There are a lot of things that we need to do. We are not perfect. We recognize that. We also recognize that in our city, in the midst of so much prosperity, that there are communities that have been underserved and under-resourced for decades. We recognize that. We recognize that there's a lot of work that needs to be done in Third Ward, the Trae, in Fifth Ward the Nickel, in Acres Home the Fofo, in Denver Harbor, in Magnolia Place, in Sunnyside, in Bend, all over the city. There are a lot of things that we need to do. And we need to understand that in our city, we receive every single person. Every person is important. Every neighborhood is valued. And we have to commit ourselves to making sure that we do better every single day. So I'm not here to tell you that we're perfect. I'm not here to tell you that we don't make mistakes. But what is important, that for people like myself who are in positions of authority and power, we have to make sure that while we are here, we work every single day to make it important, to make it a positive difference. And it's important for the mayor of the city of Houston to walk, march, stand up, and protest with you and not against you. That's important. Now, lastly, let me say this. This day is not about City Hall. And I'll correct Bun B. I didn't allow you to come to City Hall. Quite frankly, this is your city. This is your hall. It doesn't belong to me. It belongs to you. So I didn't let you come to some place that's not already yours. I understand that. But today, it's about lifting up the family of George Floyd. Say his name. Say his name. It's about lifting up the name of George Floyd. It's about supporting 16 members of his family who have taken the time, okay? They have taken the time, walked through the streets just like you did, to be here with you today. These are his kinfolk. It's not about me, okay? It's about them. And I want the focus to be on them. Because let me tell you, at the end of the day, when we go home, they still have to deal with a relative that is no longer here. Not today, not next month, but for the rest of their lives. And so today, we want to love on them. We want them to know that George did not die in vain. That's important. We want them to know. And I know it made a difference to them when the police chief in Minneapolis recognized that that police officer putting his knee on the neck of George was wrong, that the other 3 police officers standing there not doing anything, their silence was complicit, was wrong. That's important. And for us in Georgetown, in this city, to stand up and recognize and say his name, George Floyd. And so let me just say to this family, as the mayor of the city of Houston, representing 2.3 million Houstonians, not just black, Asian, Hispanic, African Americans, rich, poor, you name it, that we are standing with you today, next month, and years. We want to know we are with you. All that they ask is that as we march, protest, and demonstrate, that we do it in such a way that we do not deface his name. They want us to be peaceful. They want us to be peaceful. And I'm asking that we do that in the city of Houston, because that's just who we are. So thank you for being out here. Appreciate you being out here. To the family members, thank you so very, very much. Love you. Thanks, Bundy. Thanks, Trae.
We've been listening to Mayor Sylvester Turner there speak from the steps of City Hall as he is thronged by thousands of Houstonians, thousands of people who have gathered to march for George Floyd. We have watched people continuously pour in around the reflection pool there, the steps of City Hall, overflow on the streets, Walker, McKinney, Smith streets, no doubt Tranquility Park packed with people as well.
George Floyd, we're bringing all of them. They can come stand up here. Everybody, come on. Matter of fact, we're going to bring all of his family that's here with us today to this stage. Houston, show them some love, show them some support. Lift them up right now. The Floyd family. Come on, Houston, this is who we're here for. Show them some love. Come on, Houston, this is who we're here for. Show them some love. H-Town, stand up.
Where's Wolf?
Say his name. Say his name. Man. Never, man, I would have thought it would have had this many people, man. For my brother, man. Man, I love y'all, man. Y'all just don't know that, man. Man. Say, I don't want nobody to be protesting violently, man. You shaming all our name, not just his name. It's bigger than my brother. We got kids growing up. Sooner or later, they're going to be trying to figure it out, and they're going to say, man, who next? We trying to break the cycle right now. We got this. I thank y'all for y'all kind words of support, man. I love y'all. Don't forget that, man. I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for y'all. I'd be in a shack that's tied up, sitting down, man. I'm hurt. I love my brother, man. Thank y'all.
I just want to say thank you to everybody for coming out. We really appreciate all the support that Houston. We know that we are just beginning. The fight is going to be more like a marathon. And we hope that y'all continue to support us as we seek justice for our cousin and our brother. Thank you all so very much.
I'm good.
Hey, my heart is full. I thank everybody for coming. I mean, this is amazing, all of you guys out here. God bless you all. And my brother Fallon has basically said everything, and which is true, and that's how we feel. And like I said, I love you guys. Thank you, and God bless you all. Hey, Floyd required everybody to do one thing before his brother. And I think a lot of people missed it, but a lot of us got it. And he asked that the people just get up. Look around you. Everybody got up. Pay close attention to the small things. They're expecting you to behave unbecomingly. They're expecting you to carry yourself like a fool. But we don't have to do that. Once again, look around. We all we got. Let me hear you say that. We all we got. We all we got. But guess what the best thing about that? We all we need. We all we need. George Floyd. George Floyd. George Floyd. We all we got. We all we need. Believe that with every step you take. Every step until you make it home to your baby. We all we got. Don't take that for granted. Thank y'all for coming out.
Say, how y'all doing, man? Everybody good out there? We here peacefully. That's my first cousin, J.U., Miss Edith, everybody. I'm South Park representative. Belford Crestmont all day, right next to Alcott, Ridgeway, 3rd Ward, Jerusalem Missionary Baptist Church. I got 3 kids in Minneapolis, and I got 3 kids in here in Houston. And we gonna be peaceful today, man. And we gonna party today, man. We're gonna do it peacefully, and we're gonna do it for George. George Floyd! George Floyd!
And for everybody knowing, for my boy, it's Perry Floyd. Who all know him. His name is Perry.
I just want to thank everybody for coming out tonight. I want to thank y'all. We see all the love and support. And I'm going to tell y'all right now, we ain't letting up. Derek, you want to say something? Derek, you want to say something?
Man, I just want to say on behalf of my brother Floyd, man, I spent 85% of my life with George Floyd, man. And if any one of y'all knew Floyd, man, all he wanted us to do to stand together, represent whatever we stand on. And we gotta do it the right way, man. We got violence is not gonna help him. Please, man, help my brother rest in peace, man. Please, y'all, do it the right way, man. You know what I'm saying? And everybody, man, we appreciate y'all.
Hey, my name is Cal Wayne, man. Standing here as a brother of Big Floyd, man. He's my role model, my hero. I just want to make sure, man, y'all don't lose sight of why we're here, man. Like I say, at the end of the day, you know, I'm listening to everybody, but I don't think everybody really understands the big picture of why we're here, man. We here trying to demand some things. We here trying to understand some things, get some compromise, or find out how things can be different. I think that on behalf of the family, we try to be nonviolent because of some things we know Floyd don't really like that. But I understand y'all. But I want to make sure, man, that the message don't get misconstrued, man. We here because we want change, man. We here because we want to be heard. You know what I'm saying? We here because we want to stop dying for nothing. At the hands of the officers, and they just sweeping it up under the rug. You know what I'm saying? So I appreciate y'all. I just want y'all to keep that in mind when we protest and everything. If I march these streets, keep in mind, man, in the back of your head, man, we here to make sure that things change, man. Not to just sit here and walk around and chant and go home and Instagram it and it's cool. You know what I'm saying? We want to make sure, hey, man, tell us what's going to happen after this here, man. You know what I'm saying? I be scared all the time. I don't like to care about the law. I want to know for sure after this here, man, that we've been heard to the point to where Cal Wayne ain't going to die at the hands of the law after this here. You know what I'm saying? This lady ain't going to die at the hands of the law after this here. Let's keep in mind what we here for, man. We here because we want some answers, man. We want some change, man. All the way from Minneapolis down here, man. We want to be heard. Man, get over.
Hey, how y'all doing? I go by Junebug, you know, nephew of George Floyd. You know what I'm saying? Junebug. Man, I really ain't got too much to say, man. I just want y'all to keep going, man. Don't stop until we get justice for my uncle, man. You know what I'm saying? Ghetto. Ghetto.
Y'all tell Chuck Ghetto? Who it is? That's a rapper. Oh, come on, bro.
Y'all please send some love to the Floyd family right now, please. Y'all repeat after me, we love y'all. We love y'all. We love George. We love George. Say his name. Say his name. Say his name. Play his name. We love you, George. Look at this city standing up for you. Big Floyd's memory will never be forgotten and his life will not be taken in vain. Right now, I want to bring out two of our elected officials. They've been on the front lines for every act of misconduct in this city. They've marched, they protested, but most importantly, they litigate for us. So please welcome to the stage Congresswoman Sheila Jackson Lee and Congressman Al Green.
You all right, Congresswoman?
What's John at?
I need your attention just for a moment. I need you looking just for a moment. I want the family to stay. Just for a moment. I want this to be a solemn moment. I want us to get a moment of reflection. I want us to know what has happened here. I want us to feel the pain of these loved ones, some of whom I've gotten a chance to know, some of whom I've had police officers come and tell me what an inspiration George Floyd was to them growing up. Walk the streets of 3rd Ward, go around CUNY homes, stand near Jack Yates and have people show you what George Floyd was all about. I need a moment here, because everybody has been talking, and I want you to know Congressman Green and I have the privilege and sometimes the challenge of representing the most powerful nation in the world, the nation you own. This country is not of itself. You are this nation. And I come here today for you to take your nation. Take your nation. It's your country. What I want to say to this family, first, my sympathy. Thanks Brandon, who came and expressed what deep embedded love there was for him as a child for George Floyd. And then all of his brothers, sister-in-laws, cousins. This is like our family. So listen to me for a moment now. Thank you, Bun B. Thank you, Trae the Truth. We walk together. And I will take your challenge, Lee Merritt. I don't want to walk this journey again. It is time for a revolution of change for the dignity of all of us, no matter what our color. And so I want you to know, about 8 months ago, I was standing at the door of no return. For those who don't understand that, that was in Ghana, West Africa, looking into the watery graves that our ancestors jumped in order not to become a slave. It embedded in my soul that there's nothing we cannot do. I want to thank the brothers and sisters that don't look like me. So here is what I say to you. I don't want to speak to anybody here, because I can already feel your spirit and I know where you are. I want to speak to those that are watching somewhere, on their phone, on television, sitting somewhere and grumbling about those people. I want to capture for them the spirit and the pain of this family. I cannot walk in their shoes. I want you to be able to join us. You've got to ask for a reformation of this system. And so on Thursday, I will introduce revolutionary legislation that talks about a new culture for police and for policing, for recruitment, for de-escalation, for accreditation, for knowing that police are here as they want to be, to protect and serve. So I want an understanding. I want to be able to talk to those in these high skyscrapers. I want them to hear our cry. You're wearing black, but I'm wearing red for the blood of our ancestors. I want you to hear us. I want you to know that we've got to walk together. I am not angry, I'm anguished, but if we walk together, we'll reform this system, that it becomes a system of protect and serve. And so the Congress of the United States, the Congressional Black Caucus, and let me acknowledge Lizzie Fletcher, who doesn't look like me. I'm delighted she is here. Seema is here. I'm delighted that Sylvia Garcia is here. They do not look like me. I'm delighted that Deshaun Watson, who looks like me, is here. You all need to know that. But what I want to have you understand, I'm talking over you because I love you, because you're already here. I got to get these folk to walk with us, because the dignity of this nation and the backs that built this nation are standing in front of me. And so I want those to be grateful and work with me on reform. My last point. All right, my last point. That we have come to a moment in history. I'm not even going to characterize the legislation other than to say that in some form, now we need to understand there's no shame in reparations. We have got to understand that economics, that healthcare, that education, that housing. And so if you want an agenda, that's one. Police reform through the Law Enforcement Trust and Integrity Act that the Judiciary Committee will be doing. That's two. And then, as Lee has indicated, there are a lot of other issues that we're going to address. But I want to close on this. I want us to be under the umbrella of amazing grace. I want us to be able to take just a moment, if the family will allow me, because I've been wrestling with this, and I am not them, but I'm trying to understand. And that is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I can't breathe. I can't breathe. We will never, in George Floyd's name, hear that again. We will honor him so that I will take up the challenge that we will name a bill in the United States Congress of the United States of America after George Floyd, to be able to have his memory never to be forgotten, never to be ignored, and always with Pam Turner to be remembered. May God bless you, and I talked over you. May someone hear us and hear our cry and come out and walk with us. God bless all of you. God bless this nation. Brother.
I must be honest. I will not lie. I am angry. I'm angry because 4 men are involved in the taking the life of a dear brother, and only 1 man has been arrested. I'm angry. And I'm angry because we know that if the shoe was on the other foot, people would be in jail. I'm angry. I'm angry because not only do we want an arrest, we want a conviction. But the conviction and the arrest won't be enough. We want arrest, conviction, and we want time. They've got to do some time. I'm angry. I'm angry because I know that Black Lives Matter, and no matter what your color, no matter what your station in life is, no matter what you have, you are not better than George Floyd. He's as important as you are. I'm angry. And I want you to know this. I too have some legislation that I'm presenting. This country declared a war on poverty. We declared a war on drugs. We declared a war on cancer. It's time to declare a war on racism in the United States of America. I'm angry. We demand that we have the opportunity to have someone in office in the White House that's going to look out for every house in this country, and that's our house. I'm angry. But I want you to know this. My colleague was right when she said this is your country, this is our country. Here's why. We built it. We built this country. We built those buildings in Washington, D.C. We made America great. And America has got to respect us because of what we have done and who we are. And our humanity cannot be denied. I'm angry. But now, here's the most important thing. Some of you are angry too. Some of you are angry too. Some of you are mad. The question is this: what do we do with our anger? Here's what we've got to do. We cannot allow one march to be the end of the movement. We've got to follow to the movement. Here's what we've got to do. We've got to take that anger. We've got to register. And on November, whatever it is, the 3rd, we have got to go to the polls like we've never gone to the polls before and kick some people out of office. Kick them out. And the first person that ought to get the boot is the person who put the police on those people in the park yesterday. Donald Trump must go.
This is not the first time I've said he must go. I'm the guy who laid the foundation for impeachment. Donald Trump should have been impeached for his racism.
Time constraint.
So I say this. This family deserves our support and our love. So let us show them the respect that they deserve, and let us channel that anger into something productive. Let us not let that anger cause us to do something improper. And if you see somebody doing something wrong, point to that person and say, not with us. Not with us. Do it for me now. If you see somebody throwing a brick, what are we going to say? Not with us. 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 God bless you. And God bless all you are doing to make this country a better country for us. And that's everybody else when we're included. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, and don't forget the cry is for justice. Let me hear you say that. Justice! 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 Justice!
Thank you. No problem. No justice! No justice! No justice! No justice! Say his name! Say his name! Say his name! Say his name! Houston, Texas, thank you so much for coming out and joining us today. We just got the word from the mayor that we are 60,000 strong in the streets of Houston for George Floyd. We are 60,000 strong against racism, 60,000 strong against injustice, 60,000 strong against police brutality. And in the same way that we started this march, because we're going to get ready to walk back to Discovery Green, the same way we started it with prayer, we're going to end this rally and this protest with prayer. I would like to bring my brother in arms, my soldier. I love this man. I love his heart. He has a great spirit for the Lord. He's going to lead us with prayer, and then we're going to take ourselves back peacefully to Discovery Green. Ladies and gentlemen, Pastor John Gray. Houston, one more time, say his name. Say his name. Say his name. The anger that we feel is not simply because of his unjust death, or Breonna Taylor, or Sandra Bland, or Tamir Rice, or Philando Castile, or all of the other names. This is 400 years of pain. From 1619 until right now, black and brown people have been systematically disconnected from capital, from access, from justice, from peace, from equality. This is our Emmett Till moment. We cannot go back. We must not go back. Let this anger turn into activism, become something greater. Let his death be the seed that produces fruit that changes this nation. Let this moment change the world by changing you. Let us pray. Lord Jesus, we're asking for wisdom, strength, courage, discernment to make the right decisions, to do the right thing. And though we are filled with anger and many of us have questions, give us the wisdom and the strength to do the right thing, not to dishonor George Floyd's death by doing things that cause us to be accused of doing things that taint and tarnish his legacy. Let us walk with honor. Let us walk with power. Let us walk with conviction. Let us walk with fury. But let us walk with a plan that justice shall be served, not just through our cries and our tears, but through the legislation that's passed, through the partnerships that are birthed, and through the healing that comes. God, I pray for protection for every American city. We pray for the safety of the people, the safety of property, and the safety of the idea that all men are created equal. Now let us go from this place back to Discovery Green with peace, with power, and prosperity on our mind. And God, let us do our role and expose the ones that say they're with us but are not. So Jesus, cover us, keep us safe, and root out the wicked so that the righteous can stand. This is my prayer, Jesus. In your name I pray. Amen. Amen. And amen.
All right, everybody. Solidarity, we stand unified and we unite to fight against injustice, racism, and for the memory of our brother George Floyd. Let us walk back to Discovery Green. Let us be peaceful, because God is watching us right now, and the world is watching us. Houston, Texas, on behalf of my brother Trae the Truth, our mayor, Sylvester Turner, our elected officials, our religious leaders, and everyone else. And before I forget, let me recognize our former mayor who came here to be with us today. Mayor Nice Parker is in the house as well. Remember, Black Lives Matter, and George Floyd did not die in vain. As we walk back, say his name. Say his name. Say his name. Say his name. Let his name ring through the streets of Houston, Texas. As we walk away, we'll have a song of remembrance by artist J. Red.
I was born by the river in a little tent. Whoa, and just like the river, I've been running ever since. It's been a long cause I don't know what's up there beyond the sky. It's been a long time coming, but I know change gon' come. But yes, it will. There've been times I thought I wouldn't last for long, but now I think I'm able to carry on. It's been a long time coming, but I know change gon' come. Oh, yes it will. Black Lives Matter. Black Lives Matter. Say his name. Say his name.
Hey, don't go. Don't go. Don't go. We got conversations to have. Don't go yet. Look, I want everybody to pay attention. Raise your hands. Raise your hands in the air, right? If you're here because you hurt. Medic over there. Medic to the crowd. Medic to the crowd.
It is 5:03, 2 hours after this march started in honor of George Floyd. The speeches have wrapped. A peaceful, attentive, and respectful crowd listened to about a dozen speakers and the family as well. Plea for justice and change, and doing so peacefully. You're looking at live pictures from City Hall in downtown Houston, where we have seen throngs of people, thousands of people gather in memory of George Floyd. Their overflow spilling from the steps of City Hall into the surrounding streets there, Walker Street, McKinney Street, Smith Street. They started at 3 o'clock at Discovery Green. Now they plan to make their way back peacefully. We heard from so many people this afternoon, from members of Floyd's family, and there was an ongoing theme here, two themes really, one of change and the other of doing it so peacefully. The family says it is the way, it is the right way, and it is the way that George Floyd would have wanted it. And Houston today showed up by the thousands, and they are also showing the world that they know how to unite and they know how to lift up the George Floyd family, the memory of Floyd, and now seek justice in his name. We're keeping here with live pictures outside City Hall, where we've seen so many people gather. We have reporters there in downtown Houston as well. Our Marcelino Benito marched with people from Discovery Green over to City Hall. He watched them do so peacefully. He is gathering himself right now. He's going to bring us a live report here shortly. So much to cover here, so much ground in the past 2 hours as we continue to watch the people disperse and make their move back to Discovery Green. Let's see if we can go ahead and check in with Marcelino now. Marcelino?
Well, Mia, you're right. If Houston wanted to send a message, if that was the intent of today's march, it certainly did in terms just of sheer numbers and the fact that we were able to keep it peaceful thus far. You can see people are starting to filter out of City Hall, and they are now making their way back up Walker Street, back towards Discovery Green. To be honest with you, we were on the corner of Walker and Smith for about half an hour, 45 minutes, as these speakers were on stage. And we saw a constant flow of people coming from Discovery Green. I don't think that all the protesters, marchers that wanted to make it here were able to do so before they started turning around and heading back to Discovery Green. We want to apologize for that. There are those types of protests, so it is left. So we apologize to our viewers for that protester and what you just heard there. I do want to talk to one woman who, last time I checked in with you, Mia, this woman actually passed out due to heat exhaustion. Her name is Angie. One of the most insightful conversations I had was with Angie. So Angie, I want to ask you a quick question. You told me earlier that we've been waiting for days to have something like this, and that's why we saw this sheer crowd. Tell me about your thoughts about that, how we were waiting.
Well, I've been watching the news and watching everything play out city to city, and Houston has kind of been silent. It's just kind of been nothing going on. And we've been looking for leadership and looking for someone to organize. And when Trae the Truth made the call for everyone to come out, look what happened. The numbers are incredible. The people are incredible. The people are peaceful. This is amazing. It's amazing how many people come out. And we've just been waiting. We've been sitting home and we've been waiting and waiting and waiting.
What message do you think Houston sent to the world, to the country this afternoon?
I think because this is his hometown, this sets the tone for the rest of the world. Not just the rest of the country, but the rest of the world. This is how you do it. This is, and it's no disrespect to those that need to get their frustration out. Everybody's got a story. But this is how we do it in Houston, his hometown.
One last question for you. Obviously, there's a lot of hurt and anger in this community. I've been talking to folks all week as we covered this story. Just because things did not get violent or aggressive today does not mean there's real hurt and anger in all aspects of this community. Could you enlighten us on the hurt and anger that folks are feeling after what happened to George Floyd?
Absolutely. We say no justice and no peace. And then we say we have a peaceful rally. That's not actually true. We're not at peace. We're just not acting violent, but we're not at peace.
I got to ask you, Angie, you feeling better?
I'm feeling absolutely better. Thank you for asking.
I'm glad to hear it. We're happy you're okay. Angie, one of tens of thousands of protesters. We don't have an accurate number yet, Mia, on the number of people that came out. But again, all those people that were in City Hall are now making their way down Walker Street. They will head back to Discovery Green. We will be marching with them, and we will check in with you throughout the afternoon. Mia, back to you.
Relieved to hear that Angie is doing well there and appreciated hearing her words, too. We also have Janelle Beluda, who is there along City Hall. She has spent the afternoon with the throngs of people as well. Let's check in with her. Janelle?
Hey, Mia, yeah, it's been incredible, to be honest. This line, well, it's a line of people that has never stopped coming, and they just stood there the whole time. They kept coming in, and it never cleared out until we saw the relief gang truck going back up the street, and people started following out, and now they're slowly starting to clear their way back to Discovery Green. As you can see, lots of signs here behind us, lots of a show of solidarity. Now, I wanted to, he stood out to me because of his T-shirt. This is Burl Jones. He was George Floyd's coach in high school. Hi, Burl. How are you doing?
Doing great.
What do you think about all of this?
It's amazing, man. Houston really has came together. Houston has showed the world that we can do a protest and it don't have to be violent. And I'm really overcome with emotion to see the love for George.
Tell me about George. You knew him personally.
He was a quiet, humble young man, you know, very respectful to all the coaches and everybody at Jack Yates High School. Just a humble young man, and everybody loved him.
What do you think he'd say about all of this here today?
he probably would just, I don't know, he probably would be overjoyed with, just overjoyed because he was humble. He was all about peace and getting along and all. You know, at Yates, it's hard for people to understand the love that Jack Yates faculty, staff, and the community have. It's a very unique community, a very unique school, and it's all about love at Jack Yates. And so what we're seeing here in Houston is just the way the Third Ward and the Jack Yates family and the community has always been.
And so what do you think Houston today, with this show of support, what are they telling the rest of the world?
We're telling the rest of the world, man, we got to come together. We're all one. We want America. We're all Americans. It's not black versus white. We're all one. And that's what George stood for. And that's what Jack Yates High School and the community, Third Ward, has always stood for. So I am so happy to see everybody out here getting along. Everybody showing love, no looting, no fighting. It's amazing, man. You know, we know now George didn't die in vain because his life is going to make an impact, not only here in Houston, but worldwide.
Thank you so much for taking the time to talk to us. You brought your bike. You were smart. Yeah. We'll let you get back, and thank you for... Yes, of course. Thank you so much. You be safe, okay? So, Mia, as you can see, these are all the people starting to walk back, and like I said, thousands of people, and there's so many still there over in front of City Hall. This is just the beginning of them starting to trail back to Discovery Green. I don't know, maybe some of them are going to stick around here. We've talked to so many people who just say they're so proud of how many people have showed up today out in support of George, in support of Houston, in solidarity. And so we've seen adults, we've seen children, we've seen everyone out here just standing out here in the sun. A lot of people didn't even know where the speakers were, and they were just standing here just to be part of this important moment, just to be here, to be witness to this moment in history for Houston. And so we're going to walk a little bit with them. I know Marcelino's also walking with them, but this is them right here right now, and we are... This is history in the making. That's what that one gentleman just said. It's going to be a while before I think everyone goes home. I think they want to still savor the moment here a little bit. Mia?
Live in the moment. They feel empowered and encouraged, I'm sure, after what they have heard this afternoon as we continue to listen to the chanting there. In case you are just joining us, we are over 2 hours into a peace march for George Floyd. We heard from several people today speak about the injustice here in the United States and how we can all make a difference. And it starts right here in our own backyard in Houston. Our Chris Costa was at City Hall. He joins us now with a look and a listen of what we heard earlier today. Chris?
Well, Mia, of the speakers that we had up here earlier today, Bun B, famous rapper, as well as Trae the Truth, a close friend of George Floyd. And we just heard from Bun B at kind of the end of this rally here at City Hall that Sylvester Turner told him there were at least 60,000 people who had marched from Discovery Green to this area here at City Hall. If you're familiar with this area and the reflection pool of the grassy areas around it, completely filled so much that people stood in the reflection pool up to their knees and ankles in that water, holding signs and listening to the speakers here. We heard from the Floyd family. We also heard from Congresswoman Sheila Jackson Lee and Representative Al Green, both who said they would name legislation after George Floyd and introduce it on his behalf. A very emotional scene here with all these people packed in, really to hear all of the messages, not only from the community activists like Trae and Bun, but as well as the Congress people and George Floyd's family as well. We also heard from Lee Merritt, who's an attorney. We also heard from one of the organizers of Black Lives Matter, and there's such a diverse crowd of people here trying to show support for the Floyd family and also for this message that they believe they want to end police brutality in the country.
Got it. All right, Chris Costa there, just summing up some of what we heard today from our speakers at the George Floyd March, the program that was presented there from the steps of City Hall as we take a live look here at downtown Houston. Proud to say that downtown Houston was the site today of a peaceful and unified march. Our Marcelino Benito walked along with those marchers this afternoon. Let's check back in with him. Marcelino?
Well, Mia, we are now marching back towards Discovery Green. We're at Walker in Louisiana, and you can see we're right in the middle of all these marchers, all these protesters who have done so peacefully throughout this entire afternoon. Chris, if you want to pan over to the left, I want to show you there's tons of buildings around downtown Houston. A lot of buildings were boarded up in other parts of the city just in case things got out of hand. But look, you see all this glass that in other cities has been broken. We've seen violence. But thus far this afternoon in Houston, it has all been peaceful. Large police presence. You see officers there to Chris, our photographer's left. They've been engaging with protesters in a peaceful way. We've seen photos on social media of protesters praying over police. Just a different vibe here in Houston than we've seen in other parts of the country. And as you heard in my live interview earlier with that woman named Angie, Houston really wanted to send a message to the world and to the country today. All you've seen is loud protests, loud.
All right, the shot frozen there, of course. We've been up and live for the past couple of hours here, so probably some batteries that need to be changed, shots tuned back in. We are in the nature of bringing this to you nonstop, so you have to work with us through these moments. But at 5:16, downtown Houston remains peaceful. I want to shift gears here real quick because we know something else is very important that we need to discuss that is making news, and that, of course, is the weather and the situation in the Gulf. Our David Paul is going to bring you shortly some information about that situation in the Gulf. So I think he's ready to go. David Paul, bring us up to speed on what we are tracking in the tropics.
Let me just give you a quick update on
I want some really cold water.
Hey, Len, Sergio.